I am Iden, and welcome to the Iden Interviews. Welcome back. Uh, Today, I am joined by our lovely Leurla. And
Hello.
hello. So, how are you doing today, Leurla?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm awake. I am indeed awake. Today, everyone, we're going to be having this interview together. We're going to be, well, first off, let's just go with this. Leurla, who are you? What are you to this project? What are we doing here? What is going on?
Why am I here? I am Leurla. I am the publicity manager on the Mangai project, and I'm just happy to be here. But I am the one in charge of the social media posts, the announcements for the community nights on our Discord, stuff like that.
Fantastic. For those who either don't know or don't remember, I'm also a part of the publicity team as well. So she is my boss as far as
Yeah,
that goes in
that
the
works for me.
project. So whatever she says goes. So if she says I go, I go. But in general, can you tell me a little bit like what the different jobs you do within the project as far as publicity manager? We're just going straight into it.
Yeah, right into it. So as I was mentioning earlier, I am one of the people in charge of our social media, so Facebook, Instagram, more or less the Discord as well. And then inside of those, I have my team where we have some people who write the posts. We have our graphic design people who make our posters, our logos, stuff like that. And aside from that, we mentioned this in the last interview, we host community nights actually with you. So publicity's got a lot going on. While we are not the main body of this project, oh boy, we got a lot going on.
I'm pretty sure it's so I would guess think of it this way. There's the design team, there's the mock team, publicity team, audio team. As far as getting anyone to know what this project is, I would say we're lifeblood or your lifeblood. Publicity's lifeblood. Or at least the
That's metal as
brain.
hell. I love it.
No, Max is the brain. Max is the brain. We're the
Max is the
lifeblood.
brain.
I would say the story team's probably the feed that keeps it running as far as story goes, or else we wouldn't be here without a story.
Yeah.
And then sound as well, the voice.
Yeah. Animation's the heartbeat.
Yes. So yes, that would definitely, or no, not heartbeat, heartlight. That's what it is. What do I go with next? We're gonna go with question number 4. Have you had any other publicity experience before?
I guess technically speaking, I have. Back in high school, I was in drama, and while I wasn't an actor, I was a technician, and I was in charge of stage management at one point. So that's just about everything for people who are unfamiliar with stage management or drama. And there was a point where we did this is going to get dark for a second, but we did a school shooting play to raise awareness. And so I had to make posters. I had to go on social media. I had to do a whole bunch of stuff for that alone. And that was insane.
I don't think I've ever heard of a play that's based off of something like that.
The show itself was called Bang Bang You're Dead. And I guess that was based off of some kids game.
How did the play go, might I ask? Or have you tuned it out of your memories?
A little bit of both. That was actually one I did act in, so I had to do a little bit of everything for that. It was definitely getting to the preparation of it and to the end goal. Like on our last show, we did have a live Q&A. So I remember that like very vaguely, but I remember at the end of it, everyone came up to me and like, "Oh, you're so well spoken." I'm like, I don't remember what I just said.
So you've done something kind of like this before, but not quite as online as much as this project is.
Yeah, definitely not to this scale.
So as far as that goes, I'm a member. I know you're the head member. How many members are part of the publicity team at this point? I'm not entirely sure.
I didn't know there'd be a quiz.
There's a massive quiz. This is all quiz. It's all quiz.
I'm failing.
That no, there's no failing here. It's just more of a we'll get there when we get there. Just like this
We'll get
just like this
there.
project. We'll get there when we
Exactly.
get there and we'll be there. I would say how many active members do you know off the top of your head? I know that there's
7.
at least 7.
At
So
least 7.
because I know that there's her username, his username is Uncle Jenny.
Yeah.
We have Fleischly, some
Basil.
some Basil, some biofan, which
Yeah.
he also helps work on the actual instruction.
Yeah. Some biofan is amazing.
Yes, he is.
Timeline and Taco Man.
That's
Taco Man is
right.
actually in our animation team as well. And
Nice.
he is a homie. Like, he is coming clutch for us just in these past few days alone.
Kind of going from there, though, I think one question I will have first off, how did you get into Bionicle yourself out of like it's now 2022? I would say there's a lot of different members in the community from the very beginning, and then there's people that are just showing up into it, like younger kids and stuff that from where I work, kids are coming up and it's like, hey, do you have any of this, that, or I don't know, just that. How did you get into all this crazy abundance of energy?
Right. So for reference, I am 22. So I was born around the time Bionicle came out. So by the time Bionicle unfortunately died, I had no idea what it was. So go all the way back to 2018. I had to have a knee surgery, so I was going to be bedridden for a while, and I was going to be bored out of my mind because of that. And the week before my surgery, I go visit one of my friends who is hosting this Bionicle tabletop game taking place during this Toa Dark Hunter War, and I couldn't help. I love D&D, so I couldn't help be interested. I was like, hey, what are you talking about? Scene transition to a 2-hour lecture about the whole history of Bionicle.
Oh, you
And he
got the
tells me,
lecture.
I got the lecture. I didn't just get the lecture. I got the In the Time Before Time lecture.
Oh man, I thought that was just memes of people doing that. I didn't realize people did it in real life. Oh no.
No, like I actually do that to my friends too. Like if like they'll be like, hey, can you talk about Bionicle? I'm like, how much do you want me to talk about Bionicle? And they're like, give me the whole thing. I'm like, all right.
So I'm just yeah, no, I would just send them a YouTube link.
I do the monologue, and then I'm like, okay, it's basically like elemental heroes. Like if you like, that's all I can sell you on. It's elemental heroes with these really cool powers, and their masks do weird things, and sometimes there's a crab. Hustles.
Okay, I was gonna say it's like a crab. Why a crab?
In this day and age, it's all about the crabs, baby.
Oh my god. Wait. just nah. No crabs for me today. Something I probably should have mentioned. Some of these questions they'll be asked of you, Leurla. Sorry, I have fun with your name. Some of these questions are actually from fans of our community, just kind of generalizing some of these different questions, but some of them are a little interesting, I suppose. But you're gonna hear that people are actually asking us questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. So,
and that's all that matters.
Much as we can. When you said you got into Bionicle and stuff, you got mostly into the story. Did you have any sets back then?
No. I wouldn't even call it set collecting. My friend, different friend, same friend group, gave me a whole tub of parts, and it was like, I don't know what's in it. Here you go. And I found it. I had most of Jala, Anika, Rutaka, not all of Rutaka, but a good amount. I think the rest were just like some random Anika parts, some random like like Mata parts of all things. But it was just every bit of peace and a random Lesovic shoulder.
Random.
Just one in my, endeavors of wanting to eventually make, self mocks, or just mocks in that sense. I had bought a Bionicle set, but not for myself. I had bought it for the one who got me into Bionicle because he had a collection of all the Pohatus because that's his favorite.
Really?
And so I got him Pohatu Fantoka, actually.
Nice.
Not with the sick ride. I wish I did, but
yeah. Well,
but I actually have Golly in a canister over there, just sitting, waiting.
Nice. Yeah, as I told Max, I'm also trying to collect the whole collection and stuff, and so I'm pretty close to having most of them. I have all the Toa, like Toamata and all the different ones from the different teams. Now it's just kind of some oddballs. But yeah, no, as far as coming into the group and stuff, it's been fun talking about different where they came from as far as Bionicle goes and how one would find it nowadays. Do you have a favorite set as far as the whole series go? I know that you said you didn't get into the sets very much, but
that's kind of where it gets difficult.
Like, have you
just
gone
like
on...
visually?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. I was a huge fan of, just off the top of my head, the Takua and Usul and Puku. I know that there were some tiny sets that I really liked. Like, I want to say, it could be because I watched all the movies and I kind of looked at because like knowing dang well they were not meant for adults, I try to have a childlike lens on them, and I loved Kitongu. So seeing the Kitongu set, I thought that was really neat to like see how they made it work, and also the fact that he's a Cyclops, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, they haven't really done a whole lot for like one-eyed creatures in the whole storyline. I think the only time that you really see a one-eyed creature after that is in Hero Factory. All right, so going on from the questions and stuff again, what has been the biggest challenge you think for you as publicity manager so far in the project?
Honestly, the biggest problem, at least for me, and I'll be vulnerable for a second, I got mad social anxiety, which is funny considering I'm the publicity manager of all people. So for like when this project was first starting, or not first starting, but when I became a manager, when we have these weekly meetings, and I remember like just like having to like have like a 5-minute freak out before every call.
Ooh.
And thankfully I don't have to deal with that much anymore because I know most of everyone on my team by now, and I'm friends with Max, I'm friends with the rest of the managers. It's all great. But once in a while that social anxiety still creeps in. And aside from that, like really that's it. And like sometimes like the anxiety induced burnout, but that only happened once, thank God.
No, I get that. I would say my social anxiety isn't as high as it used to be. It'd be like I can do it if I just tell myself, oh, I'm gonna go do it, and what happens afterwards. It's what happens. It's not the easiest for all people with anxiety. And then I want to say a lot of people that love Lego in general are kind of ish introverted to a degree, or at least those who have introverted tendencies that get into Lego or in general or stories or so online type stuff. It's easy to not, I guess, with being online most of the time, it's not as bad probably having to deal with it just because you're not having to be in person and not everyone can see you freaking out half the time. So there's upsides, downsides to both. But like you said, getting to know everyone has been kind of fun. Seeing the chaos brew within the community here on our Discord server is interesting. Oh, as far as that goes, what do you think of our community so far for the Mangai project in general, like our personal community? What do people that find our community or find this first before the community, what do they have to expect? Answer as truthfully as you can.
Are you sure? Um, but realistically speaking, I like just about any community on any fandom like has its own certain amount of feral. And I
Yep.
feel like the Bionicle community has a certain amount of unhinged that comes with it. Now, if you were to compare our Bionicle Discord to, say, Bionicle mask posting on Facebook, it's slightly less unhinged, just more actively unhinged.
The different people here, like community nights, including this probably this coming community night for us. We're going to be probably doing another script reading possibly, but we've been doing something called script readings, where if a fan or one of the members has a thing that they want people to voice or read out loud or read over, we've been doing that a couple times. We've gotten probably 5 people at most half the time, which is usually what you need for the characters. It's been real fun because you can see the different stories that people have made past Bionicle, the fans, fan fiction, essentially.
A little disclaimer, just because everyone is unhinged does not mean it's not a great community. Like, I genuinely love just snooping around in the server when I'm not needing to do publicity stuff, being like, all right, what shenanigans do we got going on today? And it's just a ball.
Come check out the meme or the token meme channel in our server. And most of the we have specific like channels for talking, and most of the time they all tend to blend together. You'll find some of our more active personalities on there, but they're great people. Everyone's very creative, everyone has something unique to add to it. Yeah, and a lot of, I would say half of our personalities are actually on the publicity team as well. So that's
Yeah.
also interesting. But
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
as far as going back to our list of questions and off of our oft tangent course, uh, I would say how satisfied do you think you are with the publicity's progress on the project so far? Um, has everything been going well enough according to plan? I know things don't always go according to plan on any project, but how well has it
Right.
been going as far, based on your views, how well has it been going?
Honestly, be like publicity's progress is everything I have imagined and more. For a little bit there, I want to say one or two other people were the only people in publicity before we had all these people join and want to help. And so I honestly didn't know how far we were going to get. And then next thing you know, I have a full team. I have people who just mostly do graphic design. I have some people who are also in story, so they could write some posts for me. And like some biofan who makes these amazing instructions. I think some biofan was actually one of the people before I joined. And so I just remember walking in to seeing all this. I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. And especially with how far we've gone now that we have our teaser trailer and Tales of the Mangai out, it's just like I never would have expected this just from, I think, Bio Day last year. Like, I would have never suspected it. This is awesome.
It's amazing to me every time when I find a group that has been diligently working on something that they love. They come together. The fact that it's a whole nonprofit thing as well, so we're not making any money on it. We're hoping to do something to actually.
Yeah, like
We have a Patreon, which we use to get special information out, or basically snippets of different
yeah.
information to our Patreon members. There's different tiers. You can kind of follow along with what the project's going along, depending on what tier you are. Eventually, you'll get to see all of it, just either sooner or later. but all the profits from
Yeah.
that go to animating the show, animating our project. Money will never be our focus because it was never about that in the
Yeah.
beginning. Just because we love
Yeah.
Bionicle in general. Unfortunately, animators are, bless their hearts, do what they can and then some. And we try to do our best to take care of them so that way we're not like locking them in the closet saying, go back to work, get to work. um, but no, we give them bread and water at least twice a week. So as far as that goes, I'm glad to hear that it's met and exceeded your expectations. And I would say not
Yeah.
every project manager or manager of anything in general, sometimes it's hard to find great groups that get some stuff or get stuff done. And I love that.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate to have you and everyone else on the publicity team.
Happy to be here. So kind of going off, let's go back off topic now again. As far as you getting into the storyline long time ago, or at least finding out about Bionicle, how much of the story do you think you've gone through, or at least you're familiar with at this point? I know that you would have probably had to go over a lot of it just to understand the whole storyline for what we're working on here, but I've been listening to. There's another fan out there. His name's Toa Tapia Nuva. Uh, he's had people with him record the books, but turn them into audiobooks and stuff now for anyone to listen
Yeah.
to on YouTube. I finally caught up on the stories that
Nice.
people have listened to. But as far as yourself, where do you fall into how much knowledge you have in Big Brain? So
This big brain. Thankfully, this big brain has read all of the books because this is the end note of way back. My friend told me they have books. I'm like, do I have to buy the books? No, here's a link to all the looks or to all the books scanned.
nice.
So my entire recovery, I was just reading like 2 books a day, I think, and I just went through the whole thing.
As far as that goes, do you have a favorite book from when you were going through all of that? From the bajillion books
Seeing
they
how
have.
right, and because not only did I read the books, I did also have access to all the serials, so I read those as well.
It's like
When it comes to just the books,
it doesn't have to be just the books in general. It could be like
yeah,
Makuta's Guide to the Universe or whatever, the wiki little books or the encyclopedia type books. It could be any book. I'm not limiting it to the story. So if you have multiple, that's cool.
really the only one like that, like on the top of my head, that like when I think about the books and something having an impact, aside from Matoro dying, rest in peace, it was actually Time Trap.
That's a good one. Help me remember to make sure I'm actually thinking of the right one. That's the one where Vakama had to go back and retrieve the mask of time, right?
Maybe. I know that something happened, time got messed up. Vakama realizes he's a Matoran again and tries looking for the rest of the Toa.
That's that
and
one.
I remember, I remember he found Nokama and asked about Matau, and Nokama being like, dude, Matau died. And I'm just here like, what do you mean he died?
Yeah, no, anytime when it's like parallel universe type stuff or timey-wimey stuff, it's just like, oh God, no, we got to deal with this shenanigans again. Not because it's happening again in the story, but us as a human, we have to hear another time story again. It was fantastic. No complaints there. But I have my brain breaketh. It doeth, it breaketh when timeth is involveth ith. I talked with Max a little bit about this in the last time. Do you see yourself being here over the next 3 years perhaps or so? Because this project, based on the timeline of production, it's going to be here for probably half my life or more. What say you? You here to join the long run, or do you think you'll probably do something else at some point?
I mean, as much as one can have control over anything, I plan on being here for the long haul. I know that we have 4 seasons lined up, but I, you know, after being a part of it for so long, it's not like I have to stay here. It's I have to stay here, but because I want to.
Right. When I saw the timeline, because I didn't really grasp how long he expected the timeline to go of production, all I could think of is, you're gonna be old when you get this done. And all I can think of is, I'm gonna be old when this is done. And then what happens after? So,
Old.
well, think of it this way. How many people are gonna be like super old and like their 80s and stuff that are still into Bionicle? No one's reached that point yet, unless you were younger when you got in, or like already kind of oldish when you got into it.
Older.
In general, you don't see a whole lot of like elderly folk getting into Bionicle. But those who already were, and those who are going to stick with it because it's one of their biggest muses at this point, it's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting, say, when we're 50 and stuff like that, still working on Bionicle and stuff. Shoot. It's going to be interesting. And the fact that all of this kind of could play into skills later down the road and stuff. Management skills, interviewing skills, hosting, artwork. Oh, artwork. Your artwork. You posted something.
Artwork.
Yes. If this is edited properly, you should be seeing a picture right now. Leurla, still working on it, has made a drawing of, well, Iden interviewing Leurla. And it's super cute. It's amazing. It's lovely. The biggest reason why I love it is I don't think I ever have had someone draw, besides the interviewing, like the background I have, I've never had anyone create something based off of something that I had thought of, or at least take figures, for example. He's finally existent in real life. I'm very grateful that you found some time to do it, to draw up Iden in general, or include him in your artwork. It's such a fun thing to think of, that there'll be people willing to create art or involve someone else's character. I've never really had that experience before, so it's very gratifying. Thank you. So
yeah, congratulations, bud. You got fan art.
Yay! So we've talked a lot about the project. We've talked a lot about the joys to ode to joy of Bionicle. Did you already say what your favorite character was, you think, in the story, as far as like maybe the Mangai project or Bionicle in general, or both?
I could probably go with both. Both. I have not. My favorite character overall is probably Hahli, mainly just because, I mean, if you have read the books, we all know it. Hahli the Barbarian. I like just reading that. I thought that was iconic, and just like from like thinking of this as like a child standpoint, and you know, being a young adult now, just the second that they go to Voyanui Marinui, or is it
Voyanui's the island, Marinui's the underwater section.
Yeah, so you know, when they get to Marinui and you see Hahli, just, you know, like, I'm not going to say stereotypical Gamatoran, because you could tell that she's different from Nokama and Gali even from the start, but she goes from this, you know, serene figure to, you're in my turf now. And I thought that was badass.
I think I want to say part of it has to do with, well, first off, she played Coley in the first place, so she already had a competitive streak. Being a Toa, I think, just heightened her energy of ass kickery. And the fact that she had like massive claws in the underwater Mari line, I think that helped immensely.
Oh yeah, and wings. The wings are really cool.
Aqua Angel, or Aqua Demon, one of the two. Yeah, no, it's cool. I get that.
Yeah.
What do you think has been the most rewarding out of working on the project for yourself? Like, what what has been your favorite part, I would say, or personal favorite,
Mhm.
if anything?
I think it would mostly be, this is going to sound cheesy, but the sense of community. Outside of this project, I just had Bionicle with my group of friends, and we all played that Bionicle tabletop a little bit. We all knew the story, right? And then I joined this group, and you know, I didn't remember much about the Mangai, but I remembered that I thought it was really interesting, and it was kind of sad that we didn't get to see more about them. So, just meeting all these people and meeting you and Max, like, I think that is one of my favorite parts is that now I can consider Max a good friend. I could consider you a good friend. And like, I used to dread routine, but now every Sunday for our meetings, I'm always like I'm up early. I'm like I've for a little bit of like culture, I guess, in the Mangai project, I always make these like cute little teas or drinks before every meeting, just to like just to lighten things up. And
Do you want to
it's
know?
just been
Mhm.
nice.
You want to know something? When I first joined the project, you were already here before me. So as far as that goes, uh, when I first got in, I didn't really know what I was supposed, like what I could do and stuff. I knew I wanted to do something. I had joined because of the voice acting roles originally, and so I'm technically in the voice team as well. And then afterwards, I asked if I could do the community nights and stuff. All I can remember is like the first month or two or so. It was very, what do, who do I talk to? Max, I know you're trying to be a director and other stuff like that. And I'm like, I probably shouldn't be bugging you as much as I am because I don't know how this works. Um, and then he directed me to you and the publicity team and stuff, and he just added me to that. I can honestly say I imagined you a little more intimidating than anything in the beginning, just because I didn't know anything really is intimidating to me in the beginning, I guess, as far as what's going to happen. But as far as I don't know, you and I hadn't talked very much, so every time I asked, I felt like I was walking on eggshells. I was like, I hope something is okay. But I also think it was a time where like you were working through certain stuff as well, so it was all very weird and awkward for everyone at the time. I think it was also the ball was literally gotten picked up at that point, and someone still
Yeah.
hadn't thrown it quite yet, so the ball was still being decided on what color it's supposed to be before being rolled or thrown. um I'm glad I'm able to feel comfortable now around people more. I feel like I've
Yeah.
at least gotten some sort of role somewhere in there between being host and interviewer and stuff like that, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. Here's an interesting question.
Uh-oh.
What do you do outside of this project? What are you, who are you, what are you, why are you outside of the project as far as that goes? You say you like making your teas and stuff. What sparked that?
Yeah.
What hobbies do you have?
Um, yeah. I guess kind of ties into it. I love cooking and baking. So pretty much just about any chance I get, if there is anything that I want to try, chances are I will just make it if I can, of course. And I have a cabinet. I will be honest. I have a cabinet just for tea, just because it's one of my preferred drink choices. But especially lately, I am half Mexican, so I've been trying to embrace that side of my culture more. So I've been making a lot of desserts from that side of my family. So one of my favorites lately has been empanadas, which, if you guys don't know, is pretty much like a, I can't believe I'm saying this. It's like a sweet calzone. It's a hand pie basically,
Interesting.
but it's really nice. Yeah, and aside from that, I do this. I would And then I am actually a huge fan of Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter and, Mega Man. I think right now, like the big games for me right now are just Pokemon and Monster Hunter, just because of Violet Scarlet coming, like announcing stuff. Because I love that round pig. That pig is so cute. But and eventually, God help my soul, I want to actually cosplay Monster Hunter.
Nice. All right, help me out here. I remember hearing Monster Hunter. I've already forgotten what it is again. I know Pokemon. Don't nitpick me on that. But as far as why is it that I feel like I've heard of Monster Hunter, but I've already forgotten what that is? Help me out here.
Monster Hunter is a game by Capcom that's quite literally that is it. You hunt monsters and you can, after defeating them, whether you capture them or slay them, you can get pieces like their scales, their hides, and you can turn them into armor, weapons, all that kind of stuff, which is kind of funny. I don't like grinding games, but that is one of the most grindiest games you will ever find.
Oh, here's definitely a question from our community. In all seriousness, what is the plan going to be if the project gets an absurdly positive reception slash, or if we get an absurdly negative reception? Is there any backup plans, or is it going to be like, oh no, people don't like our project? Max, get the chicken suit.
I remember Heart reacting to this one. I'm actually really glad this question was asked because we actually do have a plan. And it really all depends on our first episode, on the pilot. If people like it, great. We'll keep going. We're like, hopefully more people like who want to work on the project will come. If not, we'll make it work. And we'll just keep doing what we're doing. Hopefully we can get more animators so it doesn't take 20 years to get everything out. And if not, well, honestly, that's okay. We have planned the pilot so it can have each part of the scale fall. If it does not take off, we just have it where it's just Lacan and a Tiki meeting. And if it does take off, we have an entire series planned just for it.
Full steam ahead. No, that's cool. I didn't even really think about the fact that there'd be a backup plan and stuff like that before. So no, that's a really good question. So cool. Going over the list. I don't think we have much more to go. I think it's time to wrap up. I think our editor would also agree before we burn his brains out from such a long interview. But as far as that goes, it's plug-in time.
Plug-in time. Let's go.
Again, we're going to have a collaboration with Metro Nui Market. So go check them out when you can. Go check out our Patreon Patreon in general. If you can, any support you can provide. We have multiple different tier options and information. And you could also get access to our Discord server. We also have a website. We have an official website, themangaiproject.com. You can also look at we have Tales of the Mangai, which are short stories and a little bit of backstory to some of the either characters or introductions. One of our story writers have been diligently working on those, so please check them out. I will think you'll love it.
Us on Instagram and Facebook.
That too. Please go check it out. Join our Discord server. All these links and stuff to most of these things will be on our website and in probably the description below us. So as far as that goes, guys, Thank you, Leurla, for joining me today. It's been quite entertaining as far as our random tangents go. So
absolutely.
Thank you, friends, for joining us. And that is the end.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.